Welcome to your channel that teaches you corporate English every day.
Part 1. Opening of the JavaScript masterclass in English. Consultant tone, no code in this session. I want to give you a clear understanding of JavaScript from the point of view of someone who participates in business decisions, not from the point of view of a programmer writing syntax. My goal here is to equip you with the mental model that executives, managers, strategists, and product owners need when they work with technical teams that build web products. You are not here to become a developer. You're here to understand the logic, use cases, and consequences of JavaScript, literacy inside a company. Let me start with the fundamental sentence that you must internalize. JavaScript is the language that gives behavior to the interface. It is what makes a product feel alive. HTML defines what is visible. CSS defines how it looks. JavaScript defines what it does when the user interacts. From a business perspective, this matters because every digital product is judged not by its existence, but by its interactivity and responsiveness. No user cares that a web page exists. Users care that it responds, validates, reacts, updates, connects, and executes actions. All of that execution layer is where JavaScript lives. When you click Add to Cart, and the cart updates without reloading the entire page, that is JavaScript. When a form checks your email in real time and shows a red warning before you submit, that is JavaScript. When a dashboard shows dynamic charts that animate with new data, that is JavaScript. When a modal opens, a price updates, a step loader appears. A filter refreshes, that is JavaScript. This is why every executive who manages digital experience must understand JavaScript conceptually, because it is the difference between a product that simply exists and a product that performs like a living system in. To position JavaScript correctly in your mental map, I want you to store this second sentence. Python dominates the world behind the interface. JavaScript dominates the world in front of the user. Python is the logic behind the curtain. Servers, automation, data processing. JavaScript is the logic on stage. What the human actually touches and sees. This is not a technical distinction. This is a decision distinction. If you are in a meeting discussing data automation, Python enters the conversation. If you are in a meeting discussing UX conversion, dashboard behavior, or digital interaction, JavaScript enters the conversation. Executives who fail to understand this separation speak to engineers using the wrong vocabulary, ask the wrong questions, and negotiate timelines with unrealistic expectations. Executives who understand the territory, even without coding, gain control of technical conversations because they reason inside the correct domain. That is the real reason you are learning this, not to write instructions, but to think in the right dimension when the conversation is about interactivity. Not infrastructure. Asterisk. Part 2. Why JavaScript is strategically important for business no-code. Consultant tone when you sit in a meeting about a digital product, a checkout, a dashboard, a portal, an internal system. A mobile web app, the decisive metric is never does it open. The decisive metric is how fast does it react to the user's intention. Business value on the front end is not existence. It is responsiveness, clarity, and reduction of friction during interaction. JavaScript is the layer that manufactures that experience to understand its business importance. You must see JavaScript not as a programming language, but as the execution layer of user expectations. Modern users expect instant response, validation, animation, conditional behavior, updates without page reload, personalized UI states, and integrated data feedback. None of that happens through static HTML or CSS. All of that is delivered by JavaScript-based logic and frameworks. If Python replaces labor by automating back-office actions, JavaScript replaces friction by automating front-office interaction. Friction reduction is not a design preference, it is a commercial weapon. If your competitor's checkout feels faster, they will convert more orders per 100 visits. If your competitor's dashboard updates instantly, users will trust the product more. If your competitor's form prevents errors before submission, their support cost decreases. Those outcomes do not appear in code editors. They appear in the company's P&L. When a CEO asks why conversion dropped, the reason is often not price or traffic. It is front-end behavior, a slow validation, a delay in a step, a missing visual feedback. That is JavaScript territory. If you cannot see that dimension, you talk about the wrong root cause and make the wrong decisions, there is another. Strategic angle. JavaScript has become the standard language of the client layer across the entire web economy. It is not optional. The browser speaks JavaScript natively. It is the default. That means every feature that must run inside the user's screen depends directly or indirectly on JavaScript. For a business leader, ignoring JavaScript is like ignoring currency exchange when running an international company. You can operate blindly, but you are operating without literacy and a fundamental dependency. This is why top product managers, heads of marketing growth leads, CX directors and founders invest time to understand JavaScript conceptually. They do not want to type code. They want to hold correct mental models so they can approve or reject technical proposals with clarity. Challenge developers with the right constraints. Forecast timelines, realistically detect lies, overpromises, and naive assumptions. Translate user behavior into technical requirements. Negotiate features in business language without sounding ignorant. Person in the room who understands the mechanics of the interface controls the negotiation around what is possible, what is fast, what is expensive, and what is risky. That control often decides who leads the project and who merely follows it. Asterisk. Dito Pello ChatGPT. Part 3. The correct way to study JavaScript if you are not trying to become a developer. The mistake most non-technical professionals make is trying to learn JavaScript the way developers learn JavaScript. That approach fails because developers study with the intention of building, while decision-makers must study with the intention of understanding and reasoning. Those are two completely different skill sets. If your goal is not to code professionally, you must not begin with syntax. Syntax is decoration. The substance is the mental architecture of front-end logic. Before one line of JavaScript ever makes sense, you must internalize what JavaScript is responsible for in the system and what problem it is solving. There is a correct sequence for business-oriented learning. Understand the boundary of JavaScript. What JS controls and what JS does not control. UI behavior, yes. Server logic, no, unless Node.js is involved. Understand the reasons for JavaScript. Usage not because this is how people build, but to reduce friction, to validate before errors, to update without full reload, to react to user intent in real time, to make interfaces feel trustworthy and alive. Understand the event-driven nature of JS. JavaScript does not act randomly. It acts when something happens. A click, a scroll, a change, a submit, a load, a time trigger. If you do not grasp the idea of events, syntax is meaningless. Understand conditional interaction logic. Interfaces do not just show things. They show A under condition X and hide B under condition Y. That is business logic translated to UX rules before it is translated to code. Only after those four conceptual pillars are stable. Touch syntax, because then syntax becomes labels for concepts. You already understand, not strange symbols to memorize. This allows you to read and understand JavaScript conversations without writing it. Asterisk. Part 4. When to choose JavaScript versus Python in a business decision and a technical. Leaders make one of two mistakes. Either they think Python and JavaScript are competitors, or they think it doesn't matter. Tech will decide. Both are wrong. Python is chosen when the business need is automation of repetitive internal tasks, processing and cleaning large volumes of data, building APIs and back-end logic analytics, AI, ML, and heavy computation, integrating systems behind the interface. JavaScript is chosen when the business need is improving what the user sees and touches, reducing friction during interaction, making an application stateful and reactive, updating parts of the screen without full reload, making the interface feel instant. In modern, a CEO or director who understands this Distinction can say sentences like, this requirement is front-end dependent. JS timeline rules apply. This is a back-end automation. Evaluate in Python. Not UI. We are confusing. Interaction with computation. Separate the layers. Do not fix a UI symptom with a back-end solution. Wrong tool domain. That sentence structure changes the outcome of entire roadmaps. A person with JavaScript literacy, even without coding, prevents wrong decisions before they burn budget. Asterisk. Final closure of the JavaScript LESSON JavaScript is not important because it is a language. It is important because it controls the moment of truth, the moment when the user interacts. Python automates the invisible. JavaScript controls the visible. Business value lives where users decide, not where systems think. That is why every serious professional who participates in product, marketing, operations, CX, or strategy must understand JavaScript. Conceptually, you do not need to code to lead technical conversations. This literacy does not make you a developer. It makes you a sharper decision maker in a digital world. End of the class.